Alright. You have tuned in to another Woomoo transmission. We have another double header today for those that are enjoying and managing to keep up. Just a quick thank you to everyone who has joined the channel. We've gone from 30 subscribers to 2,000 in about a week, so cruising. Anyway, before I get started on this specific one, let me just note that this is possibly the most important one that I've shared with you. It will be when it's done, for reasons which we'll get into. So if you are happy to like, share, and subscribe, if you are looking forward or you want a utopia, you'll understand why sharing these ideas actually works to your benefit. So don't do it for me, do it for you. Now, in this episode, we're going to be covering how black magic is used against humanity. And let me just explain. So black and white magic, with a K, this is big boy magic, simply means manifestation, right? And so you can couple black as negative intent, evil, good and evil is only measured in intent. So black magic is used with negative intention, it's fear-based, right? And white magic is done with positive intention, it is love-based. So just a quick little thing on that. And we'll be dumping into morphic resonance. I'm not going to go too off the deep end with it. I'm just going to give you some basic ideas as to what it is, how it works, and how we can use it to our benefit, and how it's also been used against us. All right. So the basic of morphic resonance. For those that don't know, Rupert Sheldrake, an incredible mind, and this is a theory he developed over the past however long. It is one of the great TED Talks that has been censored or banned. So, like most things that get banned or censored, it's normally pretty good. But why did they ban it? Because clearly it is striking a nerve. So, essentially the idea of morphic resonance is we live in a quantum information field which stores collective memory. So most people, if you've been watching, will be aware of the idea of Jungian collective unconscious. It's a human collective unconscious, an information field which stores memory, and we all kind of tap into. It would be referred to like a zeitgeist, right? A cultural zeitgeist. And so what that is the more people that speak of something, the more memory that's installed in the population, the quicker that spreads, and the more it gets fed down through different generations. It carries on this basic understanding, or this information passes through without necessarily having to explicitly tell someone. It's the ideas spur in all little pockets of humanity. That's the basic idea. I mean, I kind of butchered it, but worth checking out if you want a real proper deep dive on it, and listen to Rupert Sheldrake himself. He elocutes himself wonderfully well. Now, planting seeds of truth. Okay, before I get into how black magic is used against us, this is how we can make the white magic work for us, and use this idea, this principle of morphic resonance to help accelerate our utopia. Bear in mind, it is already happening. It will be done, which I'll get onto in a minute, but this will help kind of speed things along if that's what if you're after, right? So planting seeds of truth. Now, it's important to note the word resonance in morphic resonance. Now, truth is resonant, right? Everyone said what's been seen cannot be unseen, what's been heard cannot be unheard. But truth, you feel, irrespective of whether you believe it, i.e. you reject that truth because much of it is uncomfortable. That's why we don't all live in truth, because most of it kind of sucks until you do live in it. But what happens when someone hears a truth that is resonant, and truth is resonant, is either you choose to accept it and you live in what is more true, right? Or if you reject it, it lives in your head rent-free. So this means it will be ruminating as thought. Now, how this works as a collective within the morphic resonant field, how this works to our benefit is, and truth, I'll touch on later, is love-based, right? Deception is fear-based. But what happens when understanding you experience, we manifest our own beliefs. We manifest our own thoughts. The thought is the causal plane. We've gone into this. But what happens, especially for those that reject the truth, is it starts ruminating And the more the collective starts thinking, speaking of this truth, it manifests, okay? That is how you kind of shift the collective timeline, right? So this is very powerful, and that is why it's important, if you do hear truth that you resonate with and you think there is merit, validity, and good intention behind it, to share it, spread the word, you know? It's very easy to do. You don't need to come up with all these crazy ideas. I'm happy to help do that, and I'm sure many other people, well, I know many other people are doing this already. But you know, it's a small token, a small gesture, and a good karma, says the karma farmer himself, by just sharing these ideas, whether it is sharing YouTube video or just speaking about it to your friends or whatever it is. When you understand that when this truth actually starts to build in the collective memory, that truth then starts to manifest, okay? In the second episode, we'll get behind the actual mechanics behind it. It's super, super fascinating. Now, critical mass. So, understand, the toothpaste is already out of the tube. This is happening. I mean, it is cyclical. So, you know, it can't be denied, and I'll get into the astrological aspects of it in the next episode. But what is critical mass? Well, it takes 10%. 10% of people they don't even necessarily need to accept it, but have a truth or an idea planted the seed of truth in their mind. So 10% of people thinking about it, that is then officially critical mass. That is when it exponentiates and it's a done deal already. So the question to you is, what side of history would you like to be on? You know, are you a wolf or are you a sheep? You know, do you follow trends or do you set them, right? I mean, trust me, a lot of these truths are especially uncomfortable to accept in yourself. The more macro, the more global truths, that's a little bit easier because it doesn't necessarily affect you as much. But the deeper truths that do affect you, they can be kind of difficult to accept. Understandably, I've been there, many of us have. But you've got two options. Either you can accept what is, or you can try fight nature. And sorry to say, but nature always wins. Always. Moving on. This is fun. Okay, so how do these people that have been manifesting our reality and are trying to steer us towards a negative outcome, a negative timeline, and they've failed, but they have been, you have to understand, you know, it's very easy to get all bitter and nasty and go, oh, you know, they made a fool of me and feel all funny about it, but understand, these guys are genius. It is so clever, so interesting as well. So, you know, game recognized game. These guys are bloody good at what they do, you know, but I'll explain why they don't win in a minute. But how do they actually do this, all right? So, and I'll get into this in the next episode, but manifestation is done through the word, and the word was God, you know, and then there was light. So sound manifests reality, essentially, right? And understanding this morphic resonance principle, when you implant ideas into the collective, they collectively manifest that reality for you. So it doesn't take many people. It's funny, it's like the smallest country in the world is also the most powerful. I'm not going to get into who that is, but you should put two and two together, and there is a video that has been censored or banned or not promoted on my channel. I'm going to say it is to do with an upside down world. I don't want to say any words that will skip this one. But check that out if you're interested in this whole power structure thing. But how do they do this? Right, so Hollywood, many people will have heard this before, but the holly tree, the wood from the holly tree, was classically used by druids of Celtic origin as their magic wand to cast spells, right? And so what the mechanism is, how their new magic wand is the TV. Why? Because it is they tell a vision, right? So understanding words are spells by using media to propagate fear, to drive consumerism under the illusion of comfort, by planting these ideas through news, through fear-based ideas, all this sort of stuff. It plants these ideas in the collective memory, in the morphic resonance field, which then collectively manifests. Okay, it's genius, like really, really clever. But through awareness, when you know the game, then you know how to play the game, okay? And this is why we win, okay? So love and fear are a polarity. They're the same thing on opposite ends of the spectrum. But love always conquers fear, right? And so understanding this has been black magic, negatively intended magic used against us. Well, the white magic, when it figures out the game and it starts fighting back or whatever, it is the more powerful energy. It is a more powerful force because truth is resonant. You know, if you get told misinformation and it doesn't necessarily feel true, but you don't have any other truth to compare it to, well, you will accept that as being true, especially from an authoritarian standpoint. If you're getting told by your local news anchor, who you know and love and watch every night, well, you're going to learn to trust that because it's a familiar brand, right? But love conquers fear. So this is why these guys are sweating in their boots right now, because they know the game's already lost. Now, this game that they've been playing has been specifically through the age of Pisces. So basically 2,000 years or so, right? The birth of Christianity. That is why you have Jesus, the fisher of men, the Pope wearing a fish head on his mitre, the Christian fish symbol is indicative of Pisces. But what does Pisces represent archetypally as an energy? Well, it's two opposing fish. It represents duality, separation, the illusion of the other. This is called the Maya. All right. So just the archetypal energy of Pisces, the sun being in Pisces for the past 2,000 years, that is just a natural consequence of it, Now, Saturn, our favorite Satan, right, the Chronos, he is not a bad dude. It's a state of being, So understand, hell is a state of mind when you're thinking from the root chakra, right? Attached to being human, materialistic, primal, this sort of stuff. And Saturn, the Chronos, right? That is the highest virtue. It's the highest heaven. It's a state of mind, It is the archetypal energy of Saturn. But what does it represent? Well, Satan, represents truth and revelry. That's why on Saturday, that's why we all go out and get lit and have a good time. Cause a bit of mischief, because that Saturn rules Saturday, right? Just interesting to note. So this is why the game's already done. And I ask you again, what side of history would you like to be on? The Woo-Moo Choo-Choo is officially off and running. We've left the station, and we're gaining speed, okay? So I highly encourage you, if you enjoy these ideas, if you share my view of a utopian vision and would like to achieve that with me, help me achieve that, help me benefit humanity and help yourself benefit humanity, then, it's not much to ask. Seldom do I ever ask for anything. I don't. But like, share it, or just tell your mates, whatever. It's not much to do to make a huge difference, okay? Now, a little thing on wisdom. So, wisdom lives in truth, and truth in love. Ignorance lives in deception, and deception in fear. I'll leave it on that note. That was fun. I will see you in the next one in a minute. Shit, didn't sign off. Woo-moo. Woo-way.